tonight. I'm going downtown. 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 Hey, ain't nothing you can tell me that I don't already know. Around the block a few times.
Today is Friday, October 11th, and you are listening to In the Core. My name is OT, and I'm once again one of the co-hosts for this amazing show. To my right, as always, my fellow co-host Swap. Say what's up, Swap.
What's up, OT?
Man, it's been a rough morning, but we're here recording. Now I'm happy.
What do you mean by rough morning?
Well, it started off as a rough evening, actually. I actually came to Toronto at 8 p.m. last night. Because I had to run some errands and I had to attend my brother's football game in Brampton. I showed up to campus around 8:30 actually to get some work done, team assignments due today and whatever. And I ended up
8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. Is that dedication or is that just late?
Laziness, maybe.
Nah, it's more.
What did your team think of the fact that you're showing up at 8:30 p.m.?
Well, a couple of them showed up and a couple of them were on Google Docs till 2 a.m. So.
Sad, man. That's sad.
Anyways, so I'm in the lab, right? And I'm supposed to, I imagine I'd crash in my friend's place last night because I live in Brampton, right? I'm working and it's around 12 and my eyes start to just die down, right? So I call him up. I'm like, hey, can I come over? And he's like, nah, man, I'm going to a party because, Thursday's party night in Toronto. And I'm like, okay, I'll just work for a couple more hours. I end up sleeping for an hour, taking a nap. And I woke up again around 1, put in an hour of work, and then 2 a.m. I call him again, like, hey, can I come crash now? He's like, nah, man, the party's good. And I'm like, okay, how long are you going to take? He's like, an hour and a half. He's going to remain nameless, though, but he knows himself. So it gets to 4 a.m., and I'm like, okay, now I'm done. My mental and physical have just died down. I'm just done. And I call him up again, and no answer. So I end up crashing in the common room at 5 a.m. Dirty couch.
No, that couch isn't that dirty.
Well, they replaced it.
Although I'm never gonna sit on it again. It's not that dirty.
Don't worry. I had a good night's sleep. Thanks for asking.
That's sad.
Yeah,
that is sad.
Morning, I was just running around.
So when you were falling asleep at 5 a.m., I was getting up to get ready to go to work.
Hey, but we're both here, and that's all that matters.
Sad. We have producer Gurveer in the room, and his mic is muted. So Gurveer, try talking without mute with it.
Yes, I am not going to breathe over this show, okay?
So we hope that the you were hearing last week will be eliminated from this week's podcast by Gurveer muting during the times he's not speaking. But Gurveer, how was your week?
I don't know. I think the roughest thing I had to go through this week is looking at my teeth. I don't know if I have a cavity or a chipped tooth. What do you think's worse? I don't know.
Anyone?
It's a sports podcast. We're not dentists.
Yeah, I assume industrial engineering know a little bit of how the world works, right? Okay.
You probably want to research more about what industrial engineering does.
Gurveer.
He's our token non-engineer in the room. He's the business guy, as you can see. It's a very lucrative degree. But we also have our analyst and our expert and the guy who impresses us weekly with his sports knowledge, Israel. Israel, how are you doing?
Pretty well. Yourself?
I'm doing good. How was your week?
It was pretty good. I just want to bring up something from last week. I kind of confused people by saying that the Pittsburgh-St. Louis series, I treated it a little like a 7-game series. It was a 5-game series. The Cardinals won, so I just wanted to correct that just in case anybody got confused last week. So my apologies for that.
Producer Gurveer not doing his job and correcting that on the spot. So we're going to have to review his presence on the podcast. OT, we have a special guest. No guest last week. We've had a strong lineup of guests, and this week is probably one of our most impressive ones.
Can't wait.
The man is a third-year industrial engineer, but his claim to fame is working in hockey analytics, doing some research with the Applied Optimization Lab with myself and Professor Timothy Chan. Recently, an article was written about this research in Canadian business, but here to talk about it is Daniel Biancolin.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be on the show.
An honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the show. Make sure you hear that, catch that.
So, Daniel, why don't you tell us a little bit about the research that we've been doing and, high level. We don't want to get into the details because we don't want to give away our proprietary secrets, but why don't you just give us a little background about the research that we're doing?
Well, For those who don't know, me and Swapneel were continuing off of Timothy Chan's past work that he had already done with the previous student at the NHL level. But this time we were doing it now at the CHL level, which is the biggest hockey league for junior players in Canada. So we were collecting players, analyzing them, classifying them, and then with the end goal of trying to find a correlation between NHL and junior players to maybe be used for drafting players and trying to see who's the best player to try to pick.
Yeah, and it's really using our industrial engineering knowledge, our stats. We do some statistics.
Where have I seen this before? Didn't I watch a movie about this stuff?
See, here's the thing.
Similar.
So I don't like this comparison, and I don't know, Daniel, what you think of it, but they call it money puck because we're doing something statistical and something we're using numerical analysis in the realm of sports. But Moneyball was more about not the idea of using some sort of analysis to quantitatively judge a player. It was about finding a competitive advantage that no one else had in which a small market team could compete with the large market team.
You've rehearsed that, haven't you? You've had this conversation over and over.
I actually haven't. I haven't had the chance to voice my displeasure of the term Moneyball being overused, but I just wanted to clarify that, OT.
There you go. I just want to give you a platform to do that, Swap.
Thank you. So Daniel, how's it been like working in one of your passions in hockey? Because a lot of us, like OT, for example, he's always doing things that he hates.
Uh-oh.
And Gurveer hates his job. We all know that. Israel was telling me about how crappy his lab was yesterday or something like that. But we are doing something, and you're in your third year. You're doing something that you love. And what is it like to work in something that you're passionate about?
I think it's a great opportunity because every day in school, most of us being engineering, we have to learn a lot of classes, especially that half the time we don't want to be part of, but it's part of our curriculum. Like a lot of us grow up wanting to be a hockey player, a football player, and realistically, it's not going to happen for most of us. And I think just being able to work with hockey every day.
Dream big, kids. Dream big.
I think to be able to work with hockey and apply stuff I'm learning through industrial engineering to something I was doing normally, like I would be checking stats, just looking at stats, and now being able to actually apply my engineering knowledge and analyze these players and provide something that anyone can use, I think it's pretty cool.
OT, what do you think? Would you ever get into, I don't know, what are you interested in?
Mostly interested in, wow.
I was going to say BlackBerry. Okay, don't take me there. I was going to say BlackBerry.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely similar interest in terms, but mine's on the football level, and it's actually on the high school football level lately, just because of my brother mainly. So you never know. I might find a research topic involved in how Canadians can make it to the big time.
So we have Daniel, and Daniel obviously knows a lot about hockey, so it would be wrong to not get into some of the hockey topics and use and leverage his expertise. So, Daniel, I want to talk to you about the first thing I want to talk about is the Leafs, our good old hometown Leafs, and their goaltending situation. And we've had this discussion before about was it the right move to bring Jonathan Bernier in when you had James Reimer coming off a decent year and an amazing playoff run? Well, without the last game of the season, last few minutes discounted. Do you think that this move paid off now that we've seen Bernier at what looks to be his best?
Right now, it's only about 3 games in the season, but looking at Bernier's past, at the games he's played, even his draft history, from a team development, I think bringing in Bernier was a great idea. From a personal development, this situation's killing me. Like, Reimer got us to the playoffs. He's the happy-go-lucky Reimer. Like, I love him, but, like, it's hard to not be on Team Bernier right now. Like, the way you see him play, like, he wanted to be a starter his entire life. He's finally not. He's getting that final opportunity, and I don't think he's going to give that up.
Do you think so? We had a shutout yesterday in Nashville, and he's what now? I think he's given up maybe 3 goals in 4 games, something like that.
3 goals in 4 games played, yeah.
Do you think he's won the job?
I think it's too early to say who's won the job. Because you look at him last year, he was like 9-0-1 or something like that with an amazing goals against average, and he still didn't win the job because it's a small sample size. I think you're going to start seeing, if at the 50-game mark, if he's played 35 games, then I think it's pretty evident that he's going to be the starter for the team. Like, as Bob McKenzie Clancy was saying in a recent tweet, you can't really judge the first 2-week performance and say a team's going to be making the playoffs. You kind of have to look at a trend. So I think after the 3-week, 4-week mark is where you can start seeing who the starter's going to be.
Fair enough. Another topic that's not really on the forefront right now, but I'm thinking it's going to slowly become a major headline here in the Toronto market, and that being the situation with Phaneuf, the Toronto Maple Leafs captain. So he's coming up against the end of his contract. Do you re-sign him? Do you trade him before the deadline? What do we do with Phaneuf, in your opinion?
I think it would be, the worst case scenario would be to let him walk, because at the end of the day, like, I know everyone in Toronto at least hates Phaneuf, but I still see hope in him. I still think he's a good defenseman. He is definitely, no matter what way you look at it, he's a top 2 defenseman. This year especially, he's starting to play a less, I guess, out there game. He's not trying to go for the big plays. He's just playing smart hockey. The best bet is to sign during the season. That way, at least going into the offseason, you can have him as a trade tool, or you can keep him with the team. To sign him at $6.5 million or more, which is his current cap, I would think it would be a mistake.
Now, if you do sign him, does he keep the captaincy?
I think so. Captaincy is not based off of your performance as a player. It's based off of your team leadership and how you get the team over.
Do you
don't
think
know what goes on behind the doors, though, right?
I can name maybe 3 or 4 players who I would name.
Like,
so if let's say,
go by performance, you give
forget performance. Let's go by if Phaneuf if everyone was like a brand new Leaf, they all started fresh. Who do you give? Because I have a feeling the only reason why we would stick with him as a captain is because they made the decision to give him the captaincy back in whenever he came over from Calgary. But would you have given it to him now, assuming that if he never had the captaincy before?
Well, we have to go off of what we can see publicly. Like, a lot of these decisions are based off of behind closed doors. Like, Jay McClement is an assistant captain for Toronto, and as you know, he plays fourth line, he's very defensive, and he's a good asset to the team. He doesn't get interviewed very often, and we don't know what type of leader he is on or off the ice. We don't get to see that asset. But coming from playing hockey all my life, the captaincy is usually picked by your players also. Like, at least, like, they're not going to just assign someone that the team would not approve of. So that's why I think the major thing is there's something behind closed doors about Phaneuf that makes him the team captain.
Fair enough. Other hockey headlines, and actually, Oti, let's bring you in on this. So, Oti, what are your thoughts on the Florida Panthers?
Well, we're struggling to start the season, actually. I think we're about 1-3 right now. It's not where we want to be, but as our guest here said, you can't judge a team based on the first 3 or 4 games. You have to give a 3-week trend and see how the team's looking then, and then we can see.
So for Daniel, who probably has no idea why we're talking about the Florida Panthers, Oti, why don't you explain to them the reasoning behind this topic?
What sport do they play?
So go for it, Oti.
I love me some Florida. I love me some Florida Panthers, I believe. It's my
Oti
chosen
didn't know.
team. I actually picked them off a blank sheet or whatever.
Oti didn't know who the Florida Panthers were until maybe 2 weeks
ago. Who plays hockey in Florida?
A lot of people.
Can you give me some numbers on analytics or something on popularity of the game in Florida? I heard you can get tickets just by buying gas or something like that.
Yeah, I could not reference how many people play hockey in Florida. Like, I don't really know of any Florida players. Even the American population of hockey is big, if not Canada big, but I couldn't name any Floridas. Like, I know during the preseason they showed a Leafs preseason game and it was almost sold out. We're talking preseason. It's an NHL league. Okay. But Florida, they were making fun of it. They had 8 fans. There was more players on the ice than there was in the stadium watching that Florida game.
Wow. Okay. Well, you have a fan all the way over here in Brampton, Ontario. So fly me in.
I don't know anyone who's from Florida who's played, but did you know that I was watching Jay and Dan last week, and for those of you who don't know, you need to watch the Jay and Dan podcast. Outside of our podcast, they're probably the second best podcast in sports. But they had Chris Chelios on, and Chris Chelios is from San Diego. Hockey player, probably a Hall of Famer, and the dude's from Southern California, like the border of Mexico. So you know what? People can come from anywhere, Oti.
Well,
you shouldn't be discriminating on a location.
Hey, like I said, fly me in. I'll find you some players. I'll raise some popularity. I don't watch hockey religiously, but if you fly me in, get me on South Beach, get me some Miami Heat tickets. We could talk.
Daniel, before you go, give us a Stanley Cup prediction and an MVP prediction. And we're putting him on the spot because we never told him this before.
I saw him look over. His
MVP. Are we talking MVP playoffs or MVP of the
MVP of the season.
total position? I have to go with Sidney Crosby.
Interesting.
If he remains healthy, like year after year, no matter how many games he plays, he still seems to be in the top 10 in performance. Just watching him play, even if he's not racking up points in a game, just the plays he's making, the hockey sense.
And the commercials.
Oh, yeah, he does have... Which commercial? McDonald's? Oh, yeah, he has the Reebok commercial. He's not the best guy, marketable guy, I think. He's like, he doesn't really have that much of a personality.
That's why he never talks in any of the commercials.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him. You just show his face and you put like a Crosby or an 87 somewhere in the screen. You know hockey. You know it's Sidney Crosby. Because like a lot of these players, like if you don't know hockey, like I've seen a Nike Bauer commercial and they showed like Camilleri. Like if you don't watch hockey, you're gonna be like, what sport is this guy playing? He's doing some running drills. Like you don't know what athlete he's from, what sport he's from.
The only marketable, like Ovechkin is probably the most marketable person, just about the way he acts and the way he is. And Brizgalov, back in, I think Brizgalov is playing for Las Vegas now, so shout out to Ilya.
Professional tryout. He's still waiting for that NHL team.
You know who's really marketable, and I don't know why they haven't done this, is Yakupov. That guy's voice. Have you seen the interview? What was it, after the World Juniors when he beat Russia? YouTube that interview. It's the greatest.
We'll have that for you guys on our Twitter and Facebook page.
Greatest post-game interview I've ever seen by a man. And Luongo. It's another marketable guy. These guys, in my opinion. But, okay, so MVP Sidney Crosby. You had some time to think about it. Who is your Stanley Cup? And we want East champ, West champ, and the number of games. And who's going to win. And before you start, just to recap, OT's Stanley Cup prediction was Chicago versus San Jose.
Yo, I heard San Jose is a good team, man.
Yeah, but you have to realize that they play in the same conference.
Does that matter?
I would pick that as my Western Finals based off of
That's what I
how
meant
San
to do.
Jose's playing right now. And
So they had the one dude who has like 4 goals or 6 goals or something.
regardless of that, though, they're playing well as a team. Like they've already have 2 wins, and 2 of those are against Vancouver. Like Vancouver is still a strong team. Chicago, just given the fact that last year they killed the regular season, and they kept their core. They traded Bolin in for a league, but those are 3rd, 4th line players for them. They still kept their core in Taves, Sharp, Kane, Hossa. Like they still have their 4 key players, and on defense they still have Keith and Seabrook with Crawford in net. So that's going to be my West prediction. For my East prediction,
So wait, you're going to pick
Chicago's making it.
Chicago's going to be the Cup final?
From
Okay.
the West. East prediction, I think, is going to be a hard one, just based off of there's a lot of movements. Like I like Columbus. I think they have a good team.
Columbus,
They're
that's a
making
new
the
one.
finals. Like there's a lot.
Bobrovsky, eh?
There's a lot of movement. Like based off of pure teams, I have to go with Pittsburgh, Chicago. Fleury so far has been playing well. Vokun will be back for the playoffs, and you have your core in Crosby and Malkin as your 2 top centers, which most teams are having hard times getting 1 center. So a team with 2 top line centers has a competitive edge.
So Gurveer, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and who are you picking? Pittsburgh?
To win,
Yeah.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh in 7.
Pittsburgh. Wow. Okay.
All right. It's in red pen on this piece of paper. So
Did somebody else pick Pittsburgh and Chicago? I can't remember.
I think a lot of people have picked Pittsburgh and Chicago. I think maybe Nate did. I need to find those notes again.
Come
my
on, Gurveer.
organization is a mess right now. So
Pittsburgh and Chicago were 2 popular picks. I think I picked. I feel like I said Detroit and L.A. I feel like I said Detroit and L.A.
Yeah, I think.
Although I want to take that back after watching Jonathan Quick.
Since when are we allowed to do that?
Compare this to the EA one. They do their annual beginning of the season simulation run.
Who do they have?
I'm not sure exactly. I think MVP they have Crosby.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have it. We'll have that. We'll have that on our Twitter and Facebook pages.
Run a couple of simulations of a season in the NHL 14, and they tell you. They give you full up. They tell you who's going to finish where, how many points. That's their prediction.
EA, if you want to sponsor us, just give OT a shout. But
Sir. Fly me out to Florida.
So that's our
The
guest.
games develop in Canada. So
Yeah, the game's in Vancouver, developed in Vancouver.
No.
NHL one is it?
I just want to go watch the Florida Panthers.
We'll get you out there soon, man. We'll get that. If anyone can give us about $20 and a free flight to Florida, we can get OT a nice front row seat at the Panthers
I'll
game.
drive down.
For that
I'll
$20,
drive
you
down.
get food and a beer with it also.
So this is not the hockey, but even baseball. They used to have a deal in Tampa where for $2 you got a hot dog, beer, and nachos. And this was this was years ago when the Rays were horrible. Is this true, right, Israel? He's looking at me like, yeah, it's true. And it was like an amazing deal, man. And I was like, man, here it's like, what is it, $8 for a beer, $8 for popcorn. It's ridiculous.
Vastly overpriced. If you go to the Rogers Center, bring your own food.
Are you allowed to bring your own?
Yeah, you can, right?
Yeah, the security people don't even care.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, OT, I wouldn't try that if I were you. Silence. Thank you, Daniel, for showing up. We really appreciate it. We're probably going to bring you back when we have some more hockey talk, and to confirm your picks back when Sidney Crosby gets injured and is out for the season. We'll call you over and see why you made that decision. But anyways, thank you so much. You've been awesome. And where can people find you if they need to, or can they not find you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and most likely in one of the labs.
One of the labs, guys. So if you have any hockey talk, look for the guy. He's in a blue shirt, but that's probably only today.
I do have other shirts. Yeah.
Okay, so if he is wearing a blue shirt, then you'll find him. Otherwise, other shirts work as well. So guy in a shirt, look for him in the labs, and Daniel Biancolin. Thank you so much. Woo! We'll be right back on In the Core.
Hey guys, it's Luke from The Cannon. We have some great articles for you this week. Have a look at our intelligent analysis on how the Leafs might fall this hockey season. Following the story on Professor David Gilmour's controversial remarks, read a thoughtful opinion on the matter in Academic Misogyny or Personal Opinion. We have an in-depth look at a fascinating challenge for talented high schoolers, the University of Toronto Space Design Contest, and from two fronts, student life and science and tech. Big things are happening with our very own solar racing team. Keep up to date with our consistent coverage of the event at our science and tech section. Come on, B7. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with In the Core, and we'd like to thank our guest who is actually just...
Why are you reading off your phone, OT?
I'm not.
You ever seen that Drake freestyle YouTube video?
Hey, with a
That's what it looks like.
Right? Yeah, you always got to have your notes to back you up at all times. But, I have my written notes on my phone, and I have you swap. So I think I'm good.
Appreciate it, man.
But yes, sir, we're going to shift gears, and we're actually going to do an NBA preview talk right now. So as some of you may have heard already, I'm going to be writing some stories this school year for the Cannon newspaper.
Breaking news.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to be first article should be coming out next week, so look out for that. It's going to be an overall season preview, and I'll give you a microcosm of what that could look like right now. So, are you guys ready to go with me?
Sure.
Yeah, fine.
They're ecstatic. Okay, so we're going to kick off with where we left off last season. Casual NBA fan, last scene they remember is LeBron James holding the NBA title in one hand and his Finals MVP trophy in the other hand, and saying he has no worries in a different slang. But yeah, the Miami Heat crowned back-to-back champions last season, victorious in 7 games over the San Antonio Spurs, and Miami Heat, LeBron James, the big three, are 2 into their prediction of winning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe trophies. Guys, do you think they can three-peat this season?
Nope.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes, too.
Brief answers.
3-1. So, Miami
No, but let's be honest. They have too much competition in the East this year.
Doesn't matter.
Too much.
The East is even easier, though. They
stacked up.
Indiana is sick. Detroit is sick.
Yeah.
Chicago has D-Rose back. New York is sick.
New York's a liffy. New York's probably going to be the 5 seed.
They got Michael Beasley, their former number 2 overall pick.
Former number 2.
And Oden, a former number 1
So
overall pick.
two of the worst draft picks in the history of the NBA, and Miami's got them. They're stacked.
Yeah, but in terms of off-the-court issues. So if they're able to, they have Wade, LeBron, and Bosh mentoring them now. Beasley was always smoking pot, and Oden was always hurt. So they can get.
So LeBron mentoring Oden is going to solve his injury problems?
No, if you can get.
Is he a doctor? I didn't know he was Dr. LeBron James.
You can give them 15 minutes.
Anyways, let me
it
go
is
back.
his dad, though, right? You know how much older Oden looks, even though he's younger.
That is true. Let me go back to my. So New York is good. Detroit is good. Indiana's sick. And sick is an understatement. Watch Roy Hibbert this year. He's going to break out.
I know. He looks totally built this year.
He was supposed to break out last season. But, we'll see.
He was pretty good in the playoffs.
He was good.
So?
I expect him to be up there as well again this year.
Brooklyn is good. Brooklyn is amazing now.
Boston is going to be amazing, though?
I think they're going to be top 4.
Yeah, they're going to be top 4, but I don't see them breaking out. A lot of people are saying that.
And then look at Detroit. Right? They have Jennings, and
So
they
I was
have
getting caught up in the hype.
Josh Smith.
How's this different from Brooklyn last season?
I was talking about Detroit. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm saying how's Detroit this
Different?
season?
Yeah, they're not going to beat the Heat, but the point is there's a lot of pressure on them right now. It's not like they're just going to...
Actually, my dark horse in the East is Washington. I'll
Bradley
go into
Beal?
that in my article that comes out this weekend. You'll
Okay,
see what
but
happens.
that's just the East. Look at the West,
Look at the West. You got Clippers, who got Doc Rivers, and Lob City's out, actually.
which is a good thing. Get
It's a
some
good thing,
defense
you
in
know,
there.
Time to focus.
Hopefully they get rid of DeAndre Jordan.
OKC, you know they need Russell Westbrook to be back.
OKC is not going anywhere. They might get 7 or 8, but they're not without Westbrook healthy, and I don't think he's going to be that healthy this year. They're not going anywhere. They are not going to be better than Houston. Houston's going to be amazing.
Actually, for once this year, I think the East might be better than the West.
No, as good as the East is, Houston. Okay, Minnesota gets Kevin Love back. That's
Okay.
a beast. Kevin Love, Ricky
Doesn't
Rubio.
matter.
That's a beast
The
team.
East matches up.
Hold on, Clippers. Okay,
Yeah,
San Antonio.
This year.
Have
okay, the window is up. Okay,
No,
I'm going to get
because-
into that as well. The window of opportunity
Splitter-
has passed.
Diego Splitter is young.
Are you kidding me?
Kawhi Leonard is young.
Last time I saw him, people were cracking jokes about him. Leonard's one of my breakout players for this season, but I'm not counting on Splitter to do big things.
Denver.
They lost everything. They lost their coach. They
That's
lost
it.
Iguodala.
Okay, but they still have JaVale McGee. They still have
You're buying into the hype swap.
they still have Kenneth Faried,
Right.
who might be a top player pretty soon.
Nah, he has no offense.
I disagree. So I just want to pause. So that long spot of kind of no audio is because Gurveer forgot to unmute his mic.
Damn. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I thought my mic was on. Yeah. So San Antonio and Denver are two teams that are tough to count out because, like, San Antonio especially keeps on coming back year after year.
Okay,
winning their 55, 60 games or something.
We'll get into predictions.
Hold on. We're not done yet. What about the Golden State Warriors?
Okay, America's new favorite team.
That
you know,
team
Steph
is
Curry's
legit.
America's new favorite player.
That team is
it's all
legit.
Hype. It's all hype again.
What about Miami? That's hype too.
It's not hype. They just won the last two championships.
Yeah, but so Dallas won 2 years ago. That's not no one's picking them to win anything. Kobe, no one's picking the Lakers to win anything, right? We
If
have
Steph Curry
good
can stay
teams.
healthy, and if Andrew Bogut can stay healthy, and if Iguodala can,
If Chris Bosh can stay healthy, and if Dwayne Wade
Klay
can stay
Thompson can
healthy, and
progress,
if
and if
LeBron
Harrison
can
Barnes
stay
can
healthy and not
progress.
cut his hair.
Listen, all right, we'll get into predictions soon. Just keep all these teams in mind. You know, I hear a lot of strong talk. Keep all these teams in mind, and we'll get into it shortly.
And what about the Atlanta Hawks? No, I'm joking.
Okay, this is why I'm the basketball specialist here. Okay, so the era of big threes. So Miami has shown that you can still win with a big three. They won the last 2 NBA titles, but things their big three was a little younger than say when Boston brought together the big three and San Antonio's current crop of big three, whose window of opportunity I believe has passed. You guys have anything to say about San Antonio and how the Celtics have
San Antonio's
gone back into rebuilding mode?
Well, okay, so the Celtics, the big three will work if the contracts are structured properly. I think it's a money thing as opposed to anything else.
Nah, they let Ray Allen go pretty much. They thought their big three it died out, and San Antonio's big three is about to die out.
Yeah, but
due
you
to
can't say they
retirement.
died out because they won a championship. Eventually, everyone dies out, right? San Antonio's big three might be replaced by new players like Kawhi Leonard, right? So Tim Duncan, he's old. You never know when he might fall over. Tony Parker, Ginobili, these guys are old.
You can't replace that. Kawhi Leonard's a good player in his own right. He's gonna set his own legacy.
What about Cleveland,
You can't replace
who's
that.
forming a big three of their own?
Oh my goodness!
Slowly.
Is Bynum part of his big three? Or are you
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
no, no. Forget
Bennett
Bynum.
and Thompson?
Yeah, Irving, Bennett, Thompson.
Waiters. They have
Waiters.
Listen, everyone
You got a
has
big
good
five.
players. Everyone has good players, but you never know.
The dynasty, or the not even dynasty, the whatever this was in Miami is about to be done, and it's going to be ending really soon with LeBron James leaving. So get ready for that.
Okay.
Oh,
Another
okay.
thing
You heard it first here in the core. In fact, I'm going to write down my
Breaking
bet.
news, yeah, LeBron James is signed with, Golden State.
Oh man! Another thing we learned last season was that Russell Westbrook is just as important to the Oklahoma City Thunder as Kevin Durant is. A lot of fans usually complain about Westbrook and how he always hogs the ball, doesn't pass it to Durant. He's too aggressive. but he went down in the first round of the playoffs last season against Houston. And even though Durant was able to lead OKC to the victory in that round, they eventually got they lost 4-1 to a good Memphis team. So Westbrook right now is still not back. Hopefully he gets back soon enough, and hopefully they can get back to being relevant, because no one is really on that OKC bandwagon anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. OKC is a good team. Do they still have...
Well, last season everyone was saying this is the team. You know what I mean? Nowadays it's like, yeah, they're good.
Do they still have Kevin Martin?
Nah, he's gone.
So,
but they have some young guys.
Like?
Reggie Jackson and Jeremy Lamb. Just watch. Breakout players this season.
I don't know. Like, in that... Because there are so many... Like, if Westbrook is healthy and on fire, and if Durant is Durant, that's a top 5 team in the NBA. By far. Right? But... Westbrook is not healthy, and as soon as you lose Westbrook, you're talking about just Durant. Just Durant is not as effective, or doesn't even come close to when you have that second threat.
Right. And you saw that with Kobe Bryant and the Lakers last season. I mean, it wasn't just Kobe, but most of the time, Kobe pretty much put the team on his back, and then he ended the season with an Achilles injury. So we're waiting for him to come back as well. So, yeah. But anyways, switching gears to the NBA draft. This year, a Canadian finally went number 1 overall. Mr. Anthony Bennett out of Brampton. I know some of you have heard us on the show already, putting him up there and bigging him up. And Swap, can you let us know which of your Markham athletes have ever gone in a draft?
Do you want to do this? Because I could just destroy you in like 5 seconds.
Brampton will destroy Markham in this, without a doubt.
Steven Stamkos.
Who's that?
Okay, do I need to say any more, or do you guys have...
We have so many more. We're just waiting for you.
Hold on, Steve Stamkos. Okay, what's your rebuttal to Steve Stamkos? A proven player.
Rick Nash.
50 goal scorer. Okay, put Steven Stamkos up to Rick Nash, and who's better?
Okay, Steven Stamkos is better, but we're talking about more depth in Brampton.
Steve Thomas.
Okay, you got
Tristan Thompson.
Anthony Bennett hasn't done anything. Yeah. Tristan Thompson haven't done anything yet.
Well, Tristan Thompson is going to be
and remember, we're like half your size.
All right.
Oh, now we're using size. I just said tell me names. I
named one of the who could easily be the best player in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Canadian went number 1 overall, so shout out to him. Kelly Olynyk actually went number 13 to Boston, so 2 Canadians went in the lottery this year, which is good for the.
We have Viva.
Canada.
What do you have?
Brampton Transit Zoom.
We have Zoom.
What type of name is Zoom? This doesn't make sense. It's not even spelled right. It's said UM with a dot on it.
What? It's called an umlaut. Okay, it's called an umlaut.
Okay. Another a trade that actually went down on NBA draft night, which kind of shook the league and left a few people surprised, was Drew Holiday of Philadelphia being traded. So now Philadelphia's moving in a different direction, new era, rookie point guard, couple draft picks, and I personally was taken aback by this. I was pretty surprised because Drew Holiday has been the franchise player and the most consistent player for the last couple of years. And he's going over to the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you guys think of the name Pelicans?
Well, the Red Blacks.
Yes, the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Oh man, I wonder who approved that. The Red Blacks. But anyway, the Pelicans. What do you guys think? Are they?
Wait, speaking of OT, red and black.
There you go.
Nah, it's not really black, unless you're talking not.
That's 3. That's 3 today. Yeah.
Hold on a second though. Let's talk about the Pelicans. So you have Louisiana. What about the Gators? Or I guess because everyone talks about Gators with Florida, but they have Gators in in Louisiana. Right. Hurricanes, although that might be touchy.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can't call Miami. Like you have the Miami Hurricanes, but you can't call.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, Utah already stole the Jazz, right? So the lively Jazz scene.
Okay, what about
stuff.
I don't know. There's got to be something.
They have. I guess they have
Pelicans or something.
Orleans. We just didn't know.
Yeah, but a Pelican is not. Oh my God, we're playing the Pelicans.
Okay, it's like a bobcat. What the hell is a bobcat?
A bobcat's what do you call it? A violent animal.
Guess, but Pelicans.
There's a good nature documentary, Pelicans Stick Together, showing that New Orleans is building.
Shut up, Gurveer.
They're building
Gurveer.
They're showing that they're building a good team dynamic rather than a vicious, one-dimensional.
That's why Chris Paul left. Okay, what's next, LT?
Okay. So now we're going to shift gears. Actually, before we shift gears, next year's draft.
How many gears are we shifting? Because we're running out of gears. We're already at 4th gear. And
we're driving stick right here. We're driving stick.
Next year's draft is expected to be much better than this year's draft, and it's actually being led by young Canadian, Andrew Wiggins, who hasn't even played a game in college yet. And this week he was put on the cover of Sports Illustrated as maybe one of the next great basketball superstars. So we wish you all the best, Andrew Wiggins. We know you're a friend of the show. Shout us out. Shout us out.
Speaking of covers of magazines, me and Daniel were on the cover. Well, we weren't on the cover, but our research was on the cover of a magazine.
Oh, yeah, which one?
Canadian Business. Go check it out.
Oh, okay. Go check that out, guys. Go check that out.
Sorry, I got to do my own little props there.
No problem, man. No problem. Off-season moves. Okay, so there are a few off-season moves that kind of shook things and resolved some situations in some cities. And I already brought up the Drew Holiday one. Next one is Dwight Howard to Houston. So as we've all known, Dwight Howard over the last couple of seasons has never quite been happy. He's in Orlando. He wanted to trade, and then he wanted to go to Clippers, but then the team didn't want to trade, refused to trade him, and then he ended up going to the Lakers, and then Kobe didn't like him. He didn't like Kobe. He didn't like the coach. Nothing worked out. His back and all that, and they nicknamed that whole saga the Dwightmare. So is the Dwightmare done now? That Dwight Howard's in Houston.
I say no. I say Dwight Howard he's just a ridiculous player now. Like he can't just like shut up and just like either focus on rehabbing your injuries or focus on playing basketball. I think people just want to see one of those two things anymore.
But actually, I haven't heard anything negative since he went to Houston.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. But you just watch. If Houston gets on a little bit of snide, they lose like 4 or 5 in a row, you're gonna hear some of these stories come out. Not all of them may be true, but it's just gonna be very annoying to hear about.
Right. And he's going to Houston where they've had a history of great big men, Yao Ming and the Dream Sheikh himself, the Nigerian superstar Hakeem Olajuwon. So let's hope Dwight Howard can live up to some expectations that have been set for him.
Unlike you.
This guy's funny. The number 4, 5. We'll see about that. Okay, switching gears. Celtics and the Nets. They had a interesting trade and pretty much the end of an era in Boston. In the trade of Paul Pierce, who I never thought would leave Boston, but he left Boston. And
he didn't leave, right? He got traded, so
he approved the trade.
Yeah,
He's the kind of player you have to ask if we can even talk about you in the trade. And I think because of his service to the organization, they actually wanted him to end off his career with a chance of competing because they didn't believe Boston was competitive anymore. So they traded him over to Brooklyn, where he's joining Deron Williams. He's going with Kevin Garnett. They have Brook Lopez up there as well, and they have a good thing going. So we wish them all the best. And in Boston, I don't even want to say anything about that. Doc Rivers also left as well. He's off to Clippers, who's now all of a sudden an NBA title contender. So what do you guys expect to see from Boston this season? Do we have any Boston fans in the room, actually? Shout out to all our Boston fans. I know a few.
Israel hates Boston.
I have conversations with them all the time. But yeah, what do you guys expect to see in Boston this season?
I think that you can get some good lobster and like fishing or whatever you call it. The
clam chowder.
Yeah, it's gonna be good this year. Like the water is gonna be fresh, but aside from that, nothing much else.
I think the tickets are gonna go down to Florida Panthers level, or
I don't think so. But sorry, I was being distracted by Israel.
We have breaking news. Israel, what do you have to say?
Yes, we interrupt this broadcast to bring some news from the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. It's over in Zagreb. The Belgians are back in the World Cup for the first time since 2002, sealing a 2-1 win on the road. So, félicitations à la Belgique.
Crank out the chocolate and waffles. Belgium's back.
Okay.
And the comic books.
I don't know what that means.
I think you mean Tintin, right?
Tintin, yeah.
Tintin's Belgian?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it is.
Wasn't he Asian?
No. Wait, who are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Israel. Okay. Switching gears back to basketball.
Wait, we have more breaking news?
There's more breaking news?
Yeah, a few more games. Armenia defeating Bulgaria 2-1 at home in Yerevan.
Big matchup there.
So they keep their qualifying hopes alive. Lithuania 2-0 over Latvia. Azerbaijan
Battle of Yells.
2-0 over North Ireland. Moldova 3-0 over San Marino. But who really cares about those games anyway?
All right, okay, now we're back to basketball. I can't believe I've gone this long without talking about the Raptors. It's amazing. First thing I got to talk about is Andrea Bargnani is finally gone from Toronto, and the fan base.
Woo! Okay, so hold on. I like Primo pasta. Like it tastes, it's good, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, the other brand,
That's the problem.
Catelli is like ridiculously overpriced nowadays.
Well,
Primo
each
Pass-
out pass is
Advertise
competitively
something,
priced.
it should be priced.
I don't know. I like Primo. I think
That's
Primo
like the
Pass is
lowest
okay.
budget
So
commercial for
I'm-
a franchise player I've ever seen in my life.
I don't think Rudy Gay is going to go step up and I'm just thinking about the commercial right now.
Primo Pass. Okay, he's gone. He's gone to New York. We traded him for some players, but honestly, I couldn't even care if we got no one else in return. But shout out to Andrea Banyan, and we wish you luck for the rest of your career and deuces. Okay, now going on to this season, and we've kind of had some discussions about it already, but some things to look for this season. First thing is Derrick Rose is back. What does that mean for the Chicago Bulls?
That they are now third in the East.
Third in the East, and I assume that's behind Washington and Miami. So
Miami and Indiana.
all right.
Indiana and Miami to be proper.
But yes, Derrick Rose is back. He says he's more explosive than he's ever been. He's actually playing some preseason games already, and we expect to see some good things out of him this year. Kevin Love is also back, so look out for that. Wiggins, so we expect to see some teams in the East and in the West doing poorly as always.
I'm thinking Orlando. I don't think Sacramento.
No, not Orlando.
Are you're getting kind of
Milwaukee?
passionate. Milwaukee.
Passionate over Orlando, actually.
I'm thinking in the East, Milwaukee, Orlando, and Atlanta. They're going to be battling it out.
No.
And in the
That's
West-
why I'm the basketball guy.
In the West, who would be maybe Utah? Maybe not really. They're not that big. Who's that? Dallas,
Sacramento.
Phoenix. Sacramento's. They have cousins. That's what
I guess.
I'm thinking. Phoenix. Name one player in Phoenix.
Eric Bledsoe.
Oh yeah. Oh, Phoenix without a doubt then.
You got Eric Bledsoe. I expect some big things out of Eric Bledsoe. But yeah, Wiggins for Wiggins. We'll have a watch going on for the entire season. Moving on to predictions. I'm just going to give some 3 quick predictions. My champs in the East, again, Miami Heat. Champs in the West. It's a tougher one. I think it's a toss-up between Clippers, Golden State. I can't believe I just said that. 2 years ago, you never said that. But yeah, Clippers, Golden State, and OKC. And I'm going to go with the Clippers. So Miami versus Los Angeles Clippers in the NBA Finals. And LeBron James has his first 3 peats. MVP, once again, LeBron James. I don't even know what number this is anymore. Does anyone want to contend with that? Have any different sayings?
No.
Okay, so with that, I'll just leave you with a couple of names to look out for this season and breakout players. Eric Bledsoe, Kawhi Leonard, Enes Kanter, Tobias Harris, Jonas Valanciunas of the Raptors. And with that, we are out. So check out my article when it comes out this week.
Thank you for letting us pick. We appreciate the equality here.
I just asked.
All right, yeah, we'll do picks. I got my red
Okay,
pen
do
here,
your picks.
and I got some paper. Let's do it.
All right, do your picks.
Swap, you want to start?
East, West, and then MVP.
No champion?
And champion.
Okay. Indiana?
He's a Miami hater, clearly.
That's a tough one. Denver. Indiana wins.
Oh, man. Maybe Peyton Manning's going to be playing some basketball this season. I don't know.
MVP, Carmelo.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. You keep my life fun. Keep my life fun. Gurveer, what do you have to say?
Hold on. Who'd you pick for Super Bowl?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
They're going to be there. They're going to be there. Gurveer,
They're
pick.
playing better lately, so anyway, we'll get to football later. So I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna still say Miami, and I think I'm gonna be a little bit aggressive on my West Coast pick. I'm gonna pick Golden State. So I'm still gonna say Miami wins it, probably in about 6 games, and LeBron takes another MVP.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's your pick.
All right.
MVP LeBron?
Yeah, MVP LeBron. It just
LeBrons
I just
and
can't see
one
sports writers picking anybody else other than LeBron at this point.
Hey,
LeBron plays like
Derrick
LeBron.
Rose won last full season.
When Melo averages 35 points a game, they'll be picking Melo.
Israel, East, West, and NBA champs, if you want to.
East, Miami. West, I'll take the Clippers. And my MVP, I guess I'll go with LeBron.
Okay, so we are almost unanimous except for the Miami hater. And with that, that's the basketball talk. Check out my article when it drops this week.
I want to change my pick because we
breaking
haven't.
news.
Yeah, and I'm going to change my MVP pick to Kyrie Irving.
He thinks he's nice. He's trying to do that whole thing where he's the only one who says it, and then it happens, and then he says, "Guys, look what I did." Anyways. Okay, so we're switching gears, and we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back.
Because we're out of gears to switch, so no more gears.
Okay, no more breaks. Whew.
No, we're going to take a break, but we're not going to switch a gear. Just going to put the car in reverse, and then take a break. We'll be back in the core.
And breathe, just breathe, oh, breathe.
You are back listening to In the Core, and I hope you enjoyed that basketball section. And now we're going to reverse and switch gears still over to football now. Swap, let's go.
Pigskin preview up on the Canon. You can always catch my article, award-winning article given by me, of course. We had an interesting week, some really poor offensive games. Tom Brady comes to mind, not scoring a touchdown. The game that we all thought was going to be a blowout with, or not a blowout, but a shootout with Green Bay and Detroit didn't turn out to be that.
Well, Calvin Johnson was out, so yeah.
We did have, though, in what I'm calling the game of the year, not the century, like OT's amazing game in college football, but
Johnny Football.
The game of the year. It's odd that the game of the year happens in the same year as the game of the century. I don't know how that works, but Detroit did not play in that game. Dallas and Denver played, and some people were calling it Alice versus Enver, the game with no D. Final score was 51-48. Guys, what do you think?
Well, it was an instant NFL classic. It was everything the NFL hopes for games to be in terms of shootouts, points, storylines, collapse, clutchness, game-winning drives. It had everything.
It was just Tony Romo being Tony Romo.
Exactly. I was going to say, if you could sum up Tony Romo's career in one game, that would be the game.
Okay, I think we're hyping up his career a little too much.
He's a good quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, that was a game where a quarterback single-handedly got you every single point.
And lost the game for you.
So it's totally it's been thrown around a lot. Shakespearean tragedy, that entire game. You saw Tony Romo play the game of his life, but he still does the Tony Romo thing at the end. It was just mind-boggling that it actually happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gurveer quoting Shakespeare.
He's playing a lot like Brett Favre did in that last year of his Green Bay career, where killed it during the season, had an amazing season, and then throws an interception to not keep the Packers from reaching the Super Bowl.
Still hurt?
No, because we got Rodgers in, and he won a Super Bowl, so I'm happy.
Okay, good for you.
FYI, for those of you who were you around me back then? I don't know if you were then when we went. Anytime the Packers win the Super Bowl, everyone gets free cheese on me. So keep that in mind.
Yay.
So are you going to hold that for the rest of your life? So
yeah.
Packers won the Super Bowl in 2015?
Packers won the Super Bowl. I came down on Monday, went to Metro, bought the gourmet cheese platter, and walked around saying, anybody want cheese? And they're all like, because this school, we're full of people who don't know anything about football, except for me.
To all
and
our listeners, make sure you keep that in mind, even though it's not going to happen this season. But just keep that in mind.
So if you like cheese, cheer for the Packers.
Okay, and there was some big news this
trade of the century. Now, not game of the century, fantasy trade of the century. I traded Julio Jones, the star wide receiver from the Atlanta Falcons, who's like averaging 100 yards a game or something, amazing numbers, and I traded him for Aaron Hernandez. What a smart trade, right, OT?
Yeah, I mean, last time we saw Aaron Hernandez on the field, he was still a superstar. He's still a top 100 player in the league. So on paper, that deal looks pretty even, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, you got one guy who's in jail, and the other guy who's racking up 20 points.
See, that's in reality, but on paper, it still looks good to me.
But OT, explain to them why this was the trade of the century.
Well, because it was a lose-lose situation, or it was a nothing situation, because
Julio Jones was declared out for the season. So I actually tried to trade him for Andre Johnson when there was rumors going around.
Close. You almost got that in, didn't you?
And then I got a counter offer for Aaron Hernandez, and I couldn't pass that up because I was watching.
You never know.
I was watching Aaron Hernandez at his hearing in handcuffs, and I was like, this is a guy I want on my team.
I'm not even going to comment on that.
Hey, I won. I'm now 4-1. So, looking strong for the playoffs. I did not start Tony Romo last week.
Who'd you start? Eli?
Wow.
Rogers.
Uh,
I know, but like, would you ever start Romo over Rogers?
well, I wouldn't look at a Denver game I wouldn't look at a Denver defense as exactly having a career game.
Yeah, but
against.
who was Green Bay playing?
Detroit, who you should start. You start the quarterback who's playing Detroit. That's how I look at things.
So I think it was okay.
Eli Manning.
In the end,
matchup.
I won, and I'll tell you why I won. I was down by some points, and wasn't looking good. It was a San Francisco game at night, and I had the San Francisco defense, and I was like, man, this is not going to get me enough points. They might get me 10 points, something like that. Houston's a good team. First pass of the game by Matt Chubb, pick 6. The record now at 4 games.
Yes, sir. Pizza places in.
So, okay, we were wrong. That's another mistake.
Whoa, we made a mistake.
It was not a pizza place. It was a burger joint.
Burger joint? My bad.
So, you could put 6 toppings on your burger.
Interesting. What kind of toppings do you even put on a burger?
All right, so let's see. I put cheese. I like Monterey Jack cheese. Here's a little tidbit. If you go to Monterey, California, or anywhere in Northern California, they don't call Monterey Jack cheese Monterey Jack. They call it Jack because that's Monterey, so they call it Jack. Just wanted to let you know that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Swapneel.
Yeah. Bringing in the cheeseheads into this.
There we go. This is going to be a cheese podcast. Anyways, Monterey Jack. I'm going to put some pickles on that. I want a thin slice of tomato, crisp lettuce,
Onions?
grilled onions.
Grilled onions, okay. Sauce count as a topping or no?
If it does, then I want the spicy mayo.
Oh, bacon. Get some bacon on that.
Does that count as a topping?
Yeah, I think so. No, like sprinkle some bacon on it. So.
You sprinkle bacon on?
Yeah, man. Bacon bits. Get that.
That's like a salad thing. That's not a. Come on, man. Anyways, what are we up to? Cheese, lettuce, tomato, onions. That's 4. Pickles. So 5.
My chops, tears.
6. There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's talk game of the week. So let's recap. Gurveer, tell us how we're doing. We had 4 game of the weeks last week. How did people do?
Oh my God.
Well,
it's like midterm season.
All right, so we got Swap went 2-2 last week.
All right, not bad.
All right, and OT also went 2-2.
Whew.
That's like his best record.
People, I passed.
And then I also went 2-2. But
So?
Israel, big week, went 3-1.
Whoa.
Yeah. The only one he got wrong was the Seattle-Indianapolis game.
I should have gone with my heart, man.
Yeah.
I like that ruined it for me. Like honestly,
So the 1 week that OT picks the Patriots and they lose. Just stop picking
maybe
teams.
he's a bad luck charm.
That's what I'm thinking. 49ers.
Patriots.
Let's go through this.
Keep rooting for the Patriots.
Because Israel hates Boston. But you were cheering for the 49ers. They lose. You switch over to Denver. They keep winning, but they almost lost. And you start picking the Patriots and they lose. So please don't pick Green Bay. Okay. So what are our total records now?
All right, so total records are Israel moves into the lead
Wow.
at 5-3, followed by Swap at 5-4. I'm also at 5-4, and then OT is at 3-6 now.
So
How's that even possible?
I have taken my rightful place in the
How's that
standings,
possible?
everybody.
Listen, I want a regrade of all my. Wow. Okay. No.
we have the audio to prove it.
No worries, man. Don't worry.
Game of the week.
I ain't got no worries.
2 games of the week, and we're going to have a little fun this week with one of them. But the first one is a classic game of the week. The New England Patriots host the high-powered New Orleans Saints. Not the Pelicans, but the Saints. Guys, who do you like in this game?
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans.
It's going to be a close game. So we got Tom Brady, who for the first time in 52 games does not throw a touchdown pass. He's mad. I can tell you something. He's mad. The game's in Foxborough. I know what I picked on my article, and I'm tempted to deviate from that. But I think Drew Brees is too good, so I'm picking New Orleans. Do we have scores? I'm taking them by 7.
Okay, well, I'm going with New Orleans. Tom Brady can be mad all he wants. He still has no credible receivers, and who knows, Gronkowski might actually see the field this week. So, but I'm still going with New Orleans. High-powered offense. Coach of the year, I saw it accurately predicted on his way to winning that, and I'm going score of 30-15. That's being nice to New England because they can't put up points.
I'm going to take New Orleans by 14.
Gurveer?
Yeah, I think New England just has too many cracks in their armor. I think they're still a threat every game, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win this game, but I'm still going to say New Orleans wins by 16.
Random. Second game of the week is a very interesting game that I'm sure none of you thought would be the game of the week, but we're going to have fun with this. The high-powered Denver Broncos coming off a classic victory in Dallas. They're now 5-0.
Shootout.
Probably this could be the greatest offense in the history of football.
It's well on its way, actually, by a few points.
And they're going into another classic record-breaking team on the other end of the spectrum, being the wonderful, always love to cheer for, hoping that one day they'll get Tebow, Jacksonville Jaguars.
OT's favorite team.
Woo, Jacksonville.
So,
Sign Tebow.
so they benched.
Seriously,
I don't know if he got
sign Tebow.
injured or they benched Gabbert last week, but Chad Henne came in and he moved the ball.
Listen, that's Chad Henne's career for you. In Miami, he could move the ball. Jaguars, he started a few games last season. He could move the ball. He's like what's the name of that Bills quarterback? Fitzgerald. Fitzpatrick. There you go. Teases you and then he throws a pick or he just can't do it.
Speaking of Fitzpatrick, he was starting in Tennessee and
I
almost
don't know how
brought
he
them.
does it. He's a scam artist.
Almost brought them to a win against Kansas City. But our game of the week, of course, is Denver versus Jacksonville. But we're not going to pick the winner because everyone but OT is going to pick Denver. What we are going to pick is, are they going to cover their record-breaking spread of 28 points? So for those of you who don't understand Vegas rules, the spread is how much the Broncos need to win by in order for, if you were to bet on the Broncos, to win that bet. So are they going to win by 28 points or more? Gurveer.
Yeah, I'm going to say they are. I think Denver defense did not show up last week, but I think that's because they were facing an incredible Tony Romo. I think they'll be able to prevent Jackson from scoring enough points, and Denver will put up their customary at least 35 points. So I think they'll still cover the spread, even if it's like 35-6 or something like that.
OT.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Denver beat up on Baltimore, beat up on everyone else, and it's just Jacksonville just doesn't have it. The quarterbacks just don't have it. Justin Blackman came back, did some good things last week, but he's only one player. I say yes, definitely, and I might even bet for more. 40-point victory.
Yankee boy.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover the spread and then some.
I'm saying they're not going to cover the spread. I'm thinking it's going to be 21-3 in the first quarter, and they're going to be like, you know what? We want Jacksonville to have a team next year. We're not going to go all crazy on them.
Listen, don't forget Peyton Manning is low-key chasing history, so
Yeah.
get at least a half.
I think he's chasing a Super Bowl, and
history.
we'll see. So those are our game of the week picks. We'll check in next week to see if Israel can hang on to that lead. Let's in the words of the great OT, let's shift gears.
Wait, so I think we all this week was consensus, right? So
I didn't pick. I said they're not going to cover the spread.
Oh well. Yeah, I think I'm still going to be at the end of the week.
Come on. We'll see. It's 1 week at a time, guys. 1 week at a time. But yeah, what are we switching gears to, Swap?
What are we switching gears to? We are going to be talking about some baseball, and we'll do this really quickly. But Israel, why don't you give us a quick 2-minute recap of what happened in the playoffs this week?
Okay, so the division series were very good. Tampa Bay and Atlanta lost in 4 games, and Chipper Jones provoking the ire of Braves players by predicting what eventually became reality. He threw the first pitch and he was boycotted by all the Braves players because he predicted that the Braves would lose the series. In other news, Oakland got knocked out in 5 again by Detroit. And St. Louis came back from down 2-1 to defeat the Pirates. So that ends their magical season. And the Cardinals are back in the NLCS for the 3rd time in as many years. And they're going to face the Dodgers. So my World Series picks are still alive and well.
My World Series picks of the Toronto Blue Jays are dead.
Yes, sir. By the way, shout out to Milos Raonic. Swap, do you have any update on his status?
he lost.
Ox. Okay,
No shout out this week. OT, Blitz time?
Yes, sir. Blitz, blitz, blitz. Last week I almost got it down to 1 minute, but the team in the room wouldn't let me do it. So this time I'm gonna need someone to count me down or count me in because I'm ready to go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so first off, we're gonna talk some more basketball and a debate about who's better in terms of Jordan and LeBron. Actually got physical this week when three fans or three, I guess, people were injured after a debate occurred. So, guys, would you ever fight over a sports topic?
No.
Yeah, things get real in this room, guys. During the breaks, you need to see this.
Notice the quick answers to help you out here.
Okay. Moving on. There was a story this week that sports stars are actually making fans fat. You see a lot of these athletes.
We'd like to know your opinion on this.
I knew you'd jump in. So I knew I might do this one or not do this one. But, yeah, I agree. I see LeBron James drinking that Sprite, and I just want to drink that Sprite. I see Peyton Manning eating that Papa John's pizza, and I want that
The
Papa John's
best pizza in the United States.
So these sports athletes, maybe they need to start promoting different things. So watch out, guys. Make sure you keep your kids and young ones.
Fork.
Yes.
Ouch.
Hey, fat guys get this draft. This past draft was like the lineman draft. Right?
Yeah.
So
No, those
they
guys
get
are
paid.
and those guys are actually in good shape, even though they don't look like it.
Yeah. So only eat if you're gonna get paid to eat. Anyway, switching gears. Ricky Williams. Some of you may know him as actually a great NFL running back. This week he came out and said during his playing career, marijuana was to him what spinach was to Popeye. So what do you think about that story?
Popeye was a fictional character.
Hey, but he ate that spinach and all of a sudden he was winning. What's her name? Lois? Whatever her name is. And last story, there was an MMA fight where the fighter actually jumped out of the cage and ran away from his opponent, much like Swap normally does when things try to get physical in this room. And on that note, I'm done with the Blitz.
Okay, so you're way over a minute, right, Gurveer?
Yeah, well, not too bad actually. About 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Yeah.
2.5 minutes. But you know what, guys? It's not about the length of the topics. It's about the breadth of the topic.
Not to mention, he cut out many topics that were supposed to be in the Blitz. Let's talk about number one. The Raptors mascot, apparently, he broke his leg?
Tore his ACL.
Tore his ACL.
Crazy. I mean, Raptors were looking for him this season to be a major contributor. They were looking for him to be a breakout candidate on the team, replace Andrea Bargnani as the team's main mascot / Primo Pasta commercial holder, and it's tough.
We have some cricket news too, Gurveer. You want to mention that?
Yes, legendary Indian cricketer Sachin Tendulkar. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, and that's a complete disrespect to my parents' home country. Has retired, so big legend. I think probably at least as big as like a Mariano Rivera, Kobe Bryant type player. Very well respected.
So those people out there saying, why don't we talk about cricket? We just did.
There you go. We'll put that in the description so you could jump right to cricket.
Let's wrap it up, guys. Any final comments? What are you guys doing for this long weekend? Thanksgiving, Gurveer.
Nothing much. I think half my family already left without me to Washington, so I'm just going to be hanging around.
So Gurveer will be a loner. Israel, what are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna have to study.
No, you can study with Gurveer. OT, what are you doing?
I'm going to have to get some schoolwork in, get some job applications in, but I'm going to have some turkey. I have some family over from the States, and just can't go wrong with football,
Dinner with friends, dinner with family. Not going to watch any CFL, but definitely going to catch Leafs game.
So wait, you're gonna share the turkey with Vince Wilfork?
I'm done.
Oh, man, I almost choked on that. Thank you.
Remember that Thanksgiving game?
I do. Turkey leg in one hand. That's American Thanksgiving, OT, but wait. So for the rest of us, or the rest of you out there, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. Make sure you're thankful. Make sure you're thankful for a lot of things. You probably live in this great country. Oh, by the way, we are banned from Germany. Heads up, guys. We are banned from Germany. YouTube will not broadcast our podcast in Germany.
Interesting.
Oh, damn.
Because of the One Direction song that we played last week, we are now banned from Germany. And even more impressive, we had one viewer from Germany.
I think that's my shout out to that girl.
Man. Anyways, but like I was saying, for most of you Canadian listeners who are celebrating Thanksgiving this weekend, make sure you say your thanks and make sure you remember what you're thankful for.
And listen to the show.
Listen to the show. Even it's a great thing to do when you're studying for midterms. You can listen to OT's voice. And
Sir,
that's
like our
always-
page.
It's always something to listen to.
Follow us on Twitter.
Final comments, guys. Gurveer.
You know what? I think I'm just gonna throw an intro song in here based on that German comment right there.
Outro.
Outro song. Sorry.
Israel.
999.
Don't know what that is.
Okay.
OT.
Okay. Final comments. Don't cut your own hair.
Take a look at OT's hair if you got time. I'm out. We're all out in the core. Thank you.